What happened? The Cosby Show was a groundbreaking series that defined a generation, but its sudden disappearance from the airwaves left many puzzled. What led to the iconic show's abrupt end? From Bill Cosby's personal scandals to broader societal shifts, here's a look at the real reasons behind the Cosby Show's fall from TV screens. Bill Cosby's reign as America's dad once seemed untouchable, but it came crashing down amidst decades of allegations that forever altered his legacy. For years, he was a symbol of family values, comedy brilliance, and cultural progress. But that image disintegrated when accusations of misconduct finally broke into the mainstream. The fall was as shocking as it was messy, because this wasn't just about one man's reputation collapsing. It was about the erasure of one of television's most groundbreaking shows, a sitcom that had reshaped American culture and opened doors for representation on screen. The Cosby Show wasn't canceled because of poor ratings, creative burnout, or waning audience interest. It was erased because the man who created it, wrote it, and starred as its heart became a walking scandal. How did Bill Cosby, once celebrated as the ideal father figure, turn into one of the most controversial figures in pop culture history? The truth, as with most stories of power and fame, begins with a perfectly looking lie. When The Cosby Show first aired in 1984, it was unlike anything else on television. The show introduced audiences to the Huxtables, an upper-middle-class African-American family living in New York. Cliff Huxtable, played by Cosby himself, was a doctor. Claire, his wife, was a lawyer, and their 5 children filled the home with humor, conflicts, and relatable challenges. For millions of viewers, this family wasn't just entertaining, they were aspirational. The Cosby Show flipped the script on how black families were portrayed on television. Prior to its debut, most depictions leaned on stereotypes, poverty, or hardship. The Huxtables were different. Educated, professional, happy, and thriving in a comfortable home. Their success and intelligence challenged ingrained assumptions and offered audiences a fresh picture of what a black family could look like on primetime TV. Cosby drew much of the show's inspiration from his own life and comedy career. His stand-up routines often centered on parenting, family life, and the everyday absurdities of raising children. He wanted the sitcom to make people laugh, but also to teach valuable lessons about responsibility, education, and family values. Early on, he considered making the parents hold working-class jobs like taxi driver or electrician, but he eventually elevated them to doctor and lawyer. This was more than just a creative choice. It was a statement. By giving the Huxtables prestigious professions, Cosby sent a message that black families could embody success and achievement on television in a way that mainstream America wasn't used to seeing. The show was filmed in New York, and exterior shots used a real house to create authenticity, which made audiences feel that the Huxtables could be a real family living in their neighborhood. Casting the family was equally critical. Cosby personally selected the actors with great care, ensuring they fit his vision of the ideal sitcom family. Whitney Houston was even considered for a role, but her music career took precedence. Vanessa Williams was also in the running, but her duties as Miss America kept her from joining. Eventually, the chosen cast became iconic. Sabrina Lubaugh as Sandra, the eldest, Lisa Bonet as the rebellious Denise, Malcolm Jamal Warner as Theo, the only son, Tempest Bledsoe as Vanessa, and Kesha Knight Pulliam as Rudy, the adorable youngest daughter. Their chemistry and dynamic made the Huxtables feel real, warm, and funny. The Cosby Show was an instant success. Within its first season, it skyrocketed in popularity and soon became the #1 show on television. For 4 or 5 consecutive years, it reigned at the top, a feat few shows in television history have achieved. Its influence spread far beyond American borders. International audiences embraced the Huxtables as well, many seeing for the first time a black family portrayed with such dignity, humor, and prosperity. The show won countless awards and accolades, and Cosby's portrayal of Cliff Huxtable became iconic, especially his trademark colorful sweaters, which became a cultural trend of their own. Families tuned in weekly, not just for laughs, but also for lessons on education, responsibility, and resilience. The sitcom had become more than entertainment. It was a cultural milestone. Yet, behind the laughter and polished family image, shadows loomed. Decades later, allegations against Bill Cosby began to surface. painting a picture far different from the beloved father figure he portrayed on screen. Starting in the early 2000s, women began coming forward, accusing Cosby of sexual misconduct. They claimed he had drugged and assaulted them, some accounts going back decades. At first, many dismissed the accusations or didn't take them seriously. Cosby's clean image and towering reputation seemed untouchable. But the tide turned in 2014 when comedian Hannibal Buress referenced Cosby's alleged crimes in a stand-up routine. The clip went viral, reigniting public discussion and emboldening more women to share their stories. Soon, more than 60 women had come forward with strikingly similar accounts, sparking a cultural reckoning. By 2015, Cosby faced criminal charges connected to a 2004 case. His first trial ended without a verdict, but in 2018, he was convicted of aggravated indecent assault and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. The conviction sent shock waves through the entertainment world. Here was a man once hailed as the epitome of family values, now revealed as a predator. In 2021, Cosby's conviction was overturned on a legal technicality, and he was released. Still, the damage was done. His reputation was irreparably shattered, and the allegations continued to overshadow any contributions he had made to entertainment. For many, the crimes could never be separated from the art. The fallout spread to The Cosby Show. Once a staple in syndication, beloved by generations, it was suddenly toxic. Television networks pulled reruns, streaming platforms scrubbed episodes, and the show became nearly impossible to find legally. A sitcom that had once represented cultural progress now carried the stain of its creator's misconduct. For the cast, this meant not only emotional disillusionment, but also financial loss. Syndication royalties that actors had depended on dried up almost overnight, forcing some into difficult situations. But Cosby's crimes weren't the only controversies tied to the show. Even at the height of its success, tensions simmered behind the scenes. Lisa Bonet, who played Denise, often clashed with Cosby. Creative, independent, and unafraid to push boundaries, she resisted his control. Her photo shoots for adult magazines and her starring role in the provocative film Angel Heart infuriated Cosby, who wanted to maintain a wholesome image for the show. Their strained relationship eventually led to Bonet being written into a spin-off, A Different World. Though marketed as Denise's college journey, many suspected the real reason was Cosby wanting her off the main show. Later, Bonet reflected that she had always felt something was off about Cosby, though she hadn't fully understood why at the time. Other cast members also revealed troubling dynamics. Joseph C. Phillips, who played Denise's husband, alleged that everyone on set knew about Cosby's infidelities. While not everyone knew the full extent of his misconduct, whispers and rumors circulated long before the public reckoning. For many, this hindsight made the show's wholesome facade feel even more artificial. The cast's lives after the show varied widely, with some facing struggles that became tabloid fodder. Jeffrey Owens, who played Elvin, was photographed working at a Trader Joe's years after the show ended. Critics mocked him, but the acting community rallied to his defense, pointing out the instability of the profession and the fact that honest work should never be shamed. Sabrina Luboth expressed dissatisfaction with her role as Sandra, feeling underutilized by the writers. Malcolm Jamal Warner struggled with the direction of his later sitcom Malcolm and Eddie, which he criticized for perpetuating racial stereotypes. Kesha Knight Pulliam, beloved as Rudy, faced personal struggles in adulthood, including a bitter divorce that played out publicly. Even secondary figures connected to the show had complicated paths. Nicole Leach, a guest actress, staged a topless protest during Cosby's trial, writing the names of accusers across her body. Raven Simone, who charmed audiences as Olivia, later sparked backlash for controversial remarks about race. And Stacey Dash, who appeared in a minor role, faced her own controversies with arrests and polarizing political statements. Lisa Bonet's post-show life also made headlines, particularly her high-profile marriage to musician Lenny Kravitz and the upbringing of their daughter Zoe Kravitz, who would go on to become a star in her own right. Despite all the turmoil, The Cosby Show's cultural significance cannot be denied. At the time of its airing, it broke barriers in how Black families were represented on television. It shifted perceptions, proving that sitcoms could portray Black households as educated, affluent, and aspirational. Its influence paved the way for later shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Blackish, which built on the legacy of representation. The show also addressed real issues like education, parenting, and adolescent struggles, packaging them in humor that resonated with audiences across racial and cultural lines. And yet, its legacy remains complicated. On one hand, it remains a groundbreaking work that reshaped